put some pressure on the Jazz to score once again.
Jordan with 43. Malone is doubled. They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
LaRose trickled it ahead. Here comes Stahl with it. Shooting. Score! Stahl with 31.7 to go in the third, and the Hurricanes lead.
Off the whistle, those two wings. Everybody else must remain in the boxes. Clean win by Costabile. Charging toward the net. He scores! It is a storybook ending for the Duke Seniors with their first national championship in school history.
9/10 left. A 3 wins the series. It's Lillard. He got the shot off. Lillard, good! Good! And the Blazers win the series.
Why are some athletes able to perform under high pressure, whereas others choke under the combined weight of intense competition, high levels of physiological arousal, and psychological stress? Researchers do not as yet have an answer to that question, although examples abound of exceptional performance under pressure, not only in sport but also in the military, firefighting, police work, emergency medicine, and many other areas. Everyone can think of or remember watching a sporting event in which an individual or team overcame incredible odds and tremendous pressure to win. In those situations, athletes are praised for being clutch. Likewise, we can also recollect instances of monumental breakdowns, squandered leads, and missed opportunities as individuals or teams lost. The term choking under pressure is invoked in those sequences, but what does it mean to choke under pressure? This movie will explore the phenomena, what causes choking, what affects an athlete's ability to be clutch or to choke, and what can be done by athletes to prevent it. First, let's define some keywords. What constitutes a pressure situation? Baumeister defined pressure as any factor or combination of factors that increases the importance of performing well. Performance pressure has been defined as an anxious desire to perform at a high level in a given situation and is thought to vary as a function of the personally felt importance of a situation. We have all felt pressure in situations, whether it is a sporting event, classroom, or perhaps approaching someone we had a crush on. The point is we can all relate to the pressure situation. The phenomenon of choking under pressure remains unexplained fully and feared by skilled performers across many domains. What does it mean to choke? Choking as any performance decrement or inferior performance under pressure circumstances. Choking, or performing more poorly than expected given one's level of skill, tends to occur in situations fraught with performance pressure. According to most models of choking, the precipitous decline in performance that occurs when people choke is the result of the intrusion of internal thoughts or self-focus. External distractions, or both of those, that disrupt well-learned automatic routines developed through extensive practice. Although cognitive processing may help when first learning a skill, it is widely believed that a performance is best when there is limited attention paid to the procedures of a well-learned task. A great example of this idea is the 2008 NCAA National Championship. The University of Memphis faced the University of Kansas. After shooting 70% from the free throw line for the tournament, Memphis suddenly fell apart.
In the tournament at the line, and he shot 60 free throws. 1-1.
With their national championships, 2 losses in the 50s, one to Indiana 69-68, and one to with triple overtime to North Carolina 54-53.
2 shots here, and that one's woefully off the line.
But do you see how he pulled back, Jim?
He's missed his last 2.
He is not staying with the shot. And as I said, it's a lot of difference making them when you're up by 20.
Keeps it a 1-possession game. How big is that point that was reviewed and taken away? Shot.
Jim, we talked about it all the time. They weren't concentrating in regular season. Then they started to concentrate, but they didn't have to concentrate under pressure. This is a big deal right here for this freshman.
Kansas just used its last timeout.
He backed off as well.
Wow. Kansas can taste it. They come back from 9 down in regulation. A Kansas comeback for the history books. Rock Chalk Championship.
Why does the execution of a well-learned skill fail under pressure? Two competing theories have been proposed to account for the decrement in skilled performance under pressure. Distraction theories propose that the pressure creates a distracting environment that shifts attentional focus to task-irrelevant cues, such as worries about the situation and its consequences. Self-focus suggests that pressure raises self-consciousness and anxiety about performing correctly, which increases the attention paid to the skill processes and their step-by-step control. Attention to execution at this step-by-step level disrupts well-learned or proceduralized performances. So what is a clutch performance? A clutch performance is any performance increment or superior performance that occurs under pressure circumstances. A fantastic example of a clutch performance was the 2009 NCAA National Championship. Cornell led by 3 with 5 minutes remaining. Syracuse cut the lead to 1, but Cornell had possession with 27 seconds left in the game. In a miraculous play, Syracuse recovered the ball and scored to tie and then won in overtime.
Line's gonna let LA shoot. Cornell leads by 3.
Cornell up 3 with 5:31, Brian, and I'm not going to say that that's the game, but boy, that's darn close. 3-goal lead. It's trouble in Orange Land, without question.
Back to Nims, goal line near sideline. Kenny, 30 seconds to go. Kenny beats the crease. It's wide of Keogh, and it is out of bounds. Cornell gets it back with 27 seconds left.
Unless Syracuse has some type of a miracle on the clear, Brian, this thing's over.
Got it with 10. Ahead. Abbott, here comes Abbott with 8. Abbott being hit in the side, beats the crease, open Nims, gets it down.
He scored! He scored!
Ties it up. 2.5 seconds to go.
Woo! Listen to this crowd!
Overtime again. Who will win this game? Who will be the hero? Top of the box, right side. Hardy faking, beats the crease. Davidson got it.
He scored! Woo!
Cody Jamison delivers Syracuse an 11th national championship.
Often the examples of clutch and choke occur in the same sporting event. The example of Memphis choking could also be an example of Kansas's clutch performance. The example of Syracuse's clutch performance could just as easily be an example of choking with Cornell. What separates these performances? What impacts an athlete's performance? There are many contributing factors. A few of the largest are personality, arousal, stress, anxiety, confidence, and concentration. Personality is the sum total of an individual's characteristics which make him or her unique. Some athletes not only tend not to choke, but actually tend to perform better than usual under pressure. Just like every other skill, some people are naturally predisposed to be successful at certain tasks. We call it talent. But predisposition or talent just determines baseline or where the individual starts. With practice, a skill can be improved. Some people are predisposed to feel anxiety. This is known as trait anxiety. Some people are predisposed to have high confidence in themselves. This is known as trait self-confidence. Even if an athlete has high anxiety and low self-confidence, these obstacles can be overcome with training and practice. Arousal is a blend of physiological and psychological activity in a person, and it refers to the intensity dimensions of motivation at a particular moment. Arousal varies on a continuum from deep sleep to intense excitement. There is an optimal level of arousal for performance, although it varies from person to person. Skill development, managing stress, developing awareness help athletes maintain control over their arousal level. Stress occurs when there is a substantial imbalance between the physical and psychological demands placed on an individual and that person's response capability, and under conditions in which failure to meet the demand has important consequences. Anxiety is a negative emotional state characterized by nervousness, worry, and apprehension, and associated with activation or arousal of the body. There is a thought component, cognitive anxiety, and a physical component, somatic anxiety. State anxiety is a temporary, ever-changing emotional state of subjective, consciously perceived feelings of apprehension and tension associated with activation of the autonomic nervous system. Self-confidence is the factor most consistently distinguishing highly successful from less successful athletes. Self-confidence is the belief that one can successfully perform a desired behavior. State self-confidence is the belief that one can perform a desired behavior at a particular moment. Confidence is important so long as it is based in reality. You cannot be overconfident if your confidence is based on actual skill and ability. An athlete's belief in herself or himself is particularly crucial when there is pressure. Positive expectancies may counterbalance the debilitating effects of stress. Accordingly, an athlete with higher levels of sport confidence will feel less anxiety when under pressure. Concentration is the mental effort placed on sensory or mental events. It is the person's ability to exert deliberate mental effort on what is most important in a given situation. In a pressure situation, which can range, depending on the individual, from a routine game or event to a championship game or event, an athlete's stress, anxiety, and arousal level rises. This increase often leads to self-examination to assure the athlete that he or she has prepared for this moment. This inward focus shift many researchers have found to be detrimental. Choking under pressure is exacerbated when an athlete focuses too much internally, and increased attention to the execution of a well-learned, complex skill may disrupt the skill's execution. So how can an athlete prevent this? Through psychological skills training, or PST. PST refers to the systematic and consistent practice of mental or psychological skills for the purpose of enhancing performance, increasing enjoyment, or achieving greater self-satisfaction. The ultimate goal of PST is to self-regulate. Self-regulation is the ability to work towards one's short and long-term goals by effectively monitoring and managing one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Psychological skills training, or PST, refers to the systematic and consistent practice of mental or psychological skills for the purpose of enhancing performance, increasing enjoyment, or achieving greater self-satisfaction. The ultimate goal of psychological skills training is self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to work towards one's short and long-term goals by effectively monitoring and managing one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. There are 5 main skills that should be cultivated: self-talk, routines, focus, arousal regulation, and imagery. Athletes should utilize an AASP certified sports psychologist to develop an individualized plan. In the meantime, here are a few things that can be done on your own to address the 5 main skills. 1. Practice self-confidence. Use positive images and positive self-talk to encourage yourself. Where possible, control negative evaluation. Coaches and teammates should be aware of the impact of negative evaluation. Dr. Ivan Joseph said, "Catch them doing well rather than catching them when doing bad." In one study, evidence strongly suggests that fear of negative evaluation is the most important psychological characteristic of the choking susceptible athlete. 2. Rely on implicit learning. An athlete's general level of expertise in his or her sport has also been linked to successful performance under pressure in sport by way of a reliance on implicit knowledge, which is the acquisition of knowledge that takes place largely independently of conscious attempts to learn. Sometimes referred to as muscle memory, implicit knowledge is knowledge gained through practice until it becomes second nature. Evidence suggests that experts tend to rely more on implicit knowledge of a skill, while novices rely more on their explicit knowledge. These results show that a reliance on implicit, as opposed to explicit knowledge, is important for successful performance under pressure. Pressure raises anxiety about performing correctly, which increases an athlete's attention to skill processes and their step-by-step control. By extension, if an athlete has implicit knowledge of a skill or perceives control over it, then the athlete will focus less on these step-by-step processes and be more likely to succeed under pressure. 3. Focus on task-oriented cognitions. Occupying attention with task-relevant cognitions alleviate or at least reduce choking. Although temporal duration and consistency play important roles in minimizing choking, a non-automated pre-performance routine that has both psychological and behavioral components that occupy attention prior to execution and decrease involuntary shifts to pressure-related threat is the most beneficial to performance under pressure, especially for the choking-susceptible athlete. 4. Develop perceived control. The best predictor of performance under pressure is the perceived control factor. Perceived control is used as a regulatory element and refers to the perception of one's capacities to be able to cope and attain goals under stress. Applied sports psychologists have proposed that by using a pre-performance routine, athletes might perceive and experience more control over situations, and thus manage pressure more effectively. Apparently, the individual's belief of control over what is happening may have anxiety-reducing benefits. The perception of control may reduce anxiety, even though the actual control of the situation is not possible. 5. Breathe. Learn to control your breathing in stressful situations. Controlling breathing has many benefits. It relaxes muscles, increases oxygen flow, provides a focal point, and brings you into the present moment. Whether you have many obstacles to overcome or just a few, they can be overcome. Just like any skill you learn in your sport, these are skills, mental skills. With practice and hard work, weaknesses can be turned into strengths. The power lies within you.